it helps gear. Yes?
Speaking on that, for cords, what is the best way for putting them away and stuff? Because we put it up and then take it down every week, and so.
Yeah, everything to do that, you just don't elbow wrap anything, ever. So you see the people who take the big things, 100% no, don't do that. Two things. One, it actually bends the cable inside. If you ever to take apart these guys, the wires are thin. They're like 1 millimeter thick, 2 millimeters thick kind of thing. I don't know good, I'm not good at math, but they're thin. They're thin. So doing that is going to make it break a lot quicker. And two, they'll never lay flat again. Because now you've made them into a giant oval and they're going to do this on the floor their entire lives. These cables that have been wrapped so nicely by me will lay flat on the ground for the rest of their lives kind of thing. We could go into the nice fun thing of how to do the under-over wrapping thing. That's a whole clinic on its own. It's a whole thing. But yes, the cables are your first, I guess the second thing in line. If you don't take care of those, you can have the best microphone in the world, the best speaker in the world, but if your cables suck, because you're not taking care of them.
Okay, got it. You got to show them how you do it.
Yeah, the under-over thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Okay, we'll do under-over once. So what? The under-over thing is a tradition passed down generations and by generations to many young people. The idea being is you want to kind of start in one hand, and the cable goes under, and then the cable goes over my hand. Cable goes under, cable goes over my hand. The reason we want to do this is if we do it like under, we're going to get that spiral thing every time. Having it do the under-over thing will always make it lay flat. And anytime you need to pull the cable up, you're not going to knot anything. Nothing's going to be all figure-eighted itself kind of thing. So, goes under, goes under. Well, I can't help you there. Under and over kind of thing. This will make your cables last a lot longer. And again, the big thing, they'll lay flat.
Well, it's good for calf roping too.
It's great for calf roping. I just learned something today.
Do you use like a twist tie or something so that they don't unravel?
You can, yeah. Like those little Velcro strips are great. I would just go buy a hunk of string and make your own kind of thing. In rentals, because we go through so many, we just kind of just tie them together and they're fine. But yeah, having some string in that would help them keep a lot longer lifespan kind of thing. Because it adds up quick. I mean, a cable is like $30 when it's all said and done. You're going through them once a week. I mean, it's adds up pretty quick, you know.
So if you were to take some of them, kind of just do long ropes and then they kind of tie them in a knot.
No.
Not a good idea.
No, you do it this way. There's one right way to do it. That makes sense?
Yeah, I would think when you tie it like that, when you're done at the end, that would be just the same as going like that.
It's not the same as
Same
Two,
deal.
one main reason why. Every time I'm doing this, I'm still going the same direction every time. So when I go to lay it down, I'm going to get this every time because I'm not doing that opposite thing. And two, because I'm putting pressure on 2 different points, it is going to make them bend a lot more. It's going to make them break.
What about that notch at the end?
Well, as I said, like this is what we do in rentals because we go through thousands of cables a day. But get some string, make them tie them together kind of thing. But that's the reason we don't want to do that. And then you see the ones that are the big giant thing and then they're wrapped all around like this and yanked through kind of thing too. Try not to do that either. Good question. Yes, sir.
In general setup, like with speakers and mics and amps and everything else, you've got cables all over the place. In a temporary setup, are there any sort of general rules of what not to cross with what?
In theory, a power cable and say a typical speaker cable can cause buzzing because the power cable sending electricity down it and the speaker cable being basically just being two, like a positive and negative is like an antenna. So they can cause interference that way. So you ideally want to have power cables and speaker line mainly, separate. Because otherwise they're going to cause like that whoa kind of thing. So I actually had that yesterday. We were jamming and I was just getting the craziest buzz. And it's because I had a big long AC cable all wrapped up against my amp. It was basically making a giant coil, basically like a Tesla coil behind the amplifier. So having those separated kind of thing too. Shorter runs of everything helps. If you're doing pro audio stuff, and like I'll do a lot of gigs, And I never bring anything longer than a 25, mainly because end of the night nobody wants to grab a 50-foot cable. It sucks. Try looking into like drop snakes, they call them. So you have, for me, I have a 25-foot drop snake, which is basically 6 inputs, goes down to 1 cable, ends at 6 outputs on the other side kind of thing, and just cleans everything up. So instead of having 6 single XLRs all going along the front, I have 1 snake just running all the way along the side. So things like that can help clean up your situation. And we go through a company called Rapco, and they make some really good stuff.
I've seen like where they've used almost like a phone line.
Cat5, yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the
yeah.
newer stuff now, yeah. They're going digital. So like anytime you have like digital mixers, you can go using Cat5 to stage boxes, and that'll be a nice clean way of running it too.
Yeah.
The cool thing with running Cat5, this is where I go down the rabbit hole a little bit. If you're using Cat5 with some speakers that take Cat5, you're using a digital source, so you get no analog hiss. So the reason you have analog hiss is because you're using an analog signal.
Yeah.
With digital speakers, you get none of that, which is really cool, because you can have all these speakers set up and have them as loud as be, and it's just quiet. There's no actual hiss in that. So, yeah.
What about just tips on you come into a place and something's broken but you don't know what?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we love those phone calls too. It's not working. What's not working? It's not working. Okay. If you're going to an area and you physically can go see it, the first thing I always look at are like big giant red flags. Like those are red flags. Why is it cranked kind of thing? What are they doing wrong kind of thing? Go in, zero it out. Start from there. Start following the cables. Okay, where is this thing going? Is it actually going to something? Or did by the time you got there, the guys already got unplugged and running to something else? Follow the chain. Start at the mixer, go to your outputs. Output is actually going to output. Cool, come back. Inputs. Inputs coming into here, it's falling to the microphone. Okay, it's there. Next thing, just tap on microphones, and if you have them, the little solo buttons they're called, will show you how much is coming in on the LEDs there. And so I can see, yep, tap that one, it's coming in. Tap the second one, it's not coming in. Okay, well, I know that mic worked, so let's take that mic and put it on that new cable. Still doesn't work. Okay, it's not the mic, it's got to be the cable. Take the cable out, put a new one in, now it works kind of thing. Start at the mixer, work our way up. I would maybe do the outputs first, make sure they are actually tied to something first. Once that's done, then come to the actual inputs, follow the inputs, do a little bit of tap using your solo if you can kind of thing, and to see if there's anything in between. And then use a good source to help find the bad source. Because sometimes even like the channel might be bad on it too. So move one over kind of.
Are there any easily available testing tools like an electrician would use, for instance, to test
Yeah, you
whether
can
or not
buy
stuff's getting through, their signal getting through?
Yeah, you can get tone generators kind of thing. So you can buy little boxes that produce like a white noise, like a kind of thing, or a sine wave kind of thing, and you would just run that in between all your different sources to see if there's anything going on.
But even just the cable itself, like if you
can get cable testers.
Use.
Yeah, we sell cable testers that you just plug an XLR into, and it tells you the 3 pins. And if it's all of them light up, it works. And if it doesn't, it'll tell you which one isn't lighting up, and then okay, there's a short and whatever kind of thing. So we sell all those things here along with Quaid. So if you do need cable testers, we do sell them. They're great to have. I always carry one with me because
because there's a lot of walking if you have to go to the point of everything.
Exactly right. So yeah, cable tester would be a good one. I have an app on my phone that does the sine wave thing. So I'll always just kind of have that plugged into a channel, and then I'm following the signal to the output speaker to see if anything's actually coming out of those kind of things. So something that would help too. Yeah.
That spectrum analyzer app you're talking about, what was, do you know what it was exactly?
What it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's checking his email. Checking my emails. iAnalyzer Lite. And I don't know if you can kind of see.
Can a person use that XLR tester that you guys sell for testing a snake? A long snake?
So there's kind of the idea there. You can see.
Okay.
So it's showing all the different frequencies. You see that one kind of go. So you know it's that one frequency. If you put your finger on it, it'll tell you across the top what actual frequency it is, and then you can use EQs and stuff to get rid of it, kind of thing. So it's a good little tool to have.
What was that called again?
iAnalyzer Lite. I'm not endorsed by iAnalyzer Lights, so it's, if you want to use a different one, that's fine. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question over here?
Oh, We've got a couple of dead channels, almost seems like on a 16-channel snake.
Okay.
I was just wondering if that's that XLR tester, if we could test that snake with it.
Yeah, because it'll make it like a test tone.
Yeah, you're gonna be running a tone frequency through it?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
do
can
that.
tell it'd be like just a white noise or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's easy enough to do. Yes, sir.
You just go back and talk about condenser mics versus regular, just in selection, just
Sure.
where
So
and why and
yeah. So why condenser over a dynamic kind of thing? Condenser microphones ideally are designed to pick up a bigger area of sound. The capsule in it is more sensitive, meaning it's going to pick up a bigger area. I would use those for, say, drum overheads, where I want to have one thing picking up a big, nice area kind of thing. You can also use them for vocals, for people who want to have a little further distance from the microphone, because now the capsule is picking up a bigger area. So the main difference is just how big that bubble is. How much of a bubble is it picking up? So with the same amount of gain on a dynamic mic, the bubble might be somewhere around there. On a dynamic or on a condenser, you might get up into here kind of thing. It's not going to be ridiculous. Like, I mean, kind of thing. You still have to have that. I blame TV for a lot of things. When people watch movies and they see the guy doing this and he sounds amazing, and then they wonder why they can't do that live. You still need to have that source go into it. So again, the condenser microphone, yes, picks up a bigger area of sound, but if you're not giving it anything, it's not going to help you. So again, the two-person thing, signal in equals signal out, have them help you kind of thing. It's a way nicer process to be on the same page when you're doing audio with the band versus you being like, I'm trying to make you sound really good. Like, trust me, I'm on your side. To help me, how about you just get a little bit closer? Just try that for now, and just see what happens kind of thing. And then maybe they'll get, then go from there. I'm going to try moving your monitor a little bit. Just see if that helps kind of thing. Like, try little things like that to help get the best situation you can. You know? Does that make sense? Cool. I find that's the biggest one is there's always like this disconnect with like the performers and the guy running the audio. Like, I don't know how many times I used to do sound at the Odeon, and like big artists, like traveling guys and stuff, had like Matthew Good come in and running monitors and everything good? Yeah, everything's fine. Good? Yes. And then the show was done, and the guy, I'm wrapping cables, and I can hear the bass player being like, I couldn't hear a thing today. This is brutal. And it's like, there's that disconnect. Like, I'm trying to help you. If you need something, tell me. I'm not going to be like, no. You know? I'll try to help you. So as the artist and as the guys running it, be like that. What can I do to help you? Do you need more of something? Do you, if it's still not getting loud enough, let's try a different mic kind of thing to see if it's better kind of thing. Make sure you're always talking with the people who are performing and make them realize we're on the same team here. Like, I want to make you sound good kind of thing. So, and if you're the artist too, going to venues and kind of, don't be afraid to ask for things. You know, there's nothing worse than finding out after the gig that it didn't sound good. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you're doing your monitors and it's like, yeah, it sounds fine. Does it? Like, tell me what you need kind of thing. And that, I think that can help a lot of artists kind of thing too. Like, you perform live as well kind of thing. Getting
I
that?
used to a little bit.
Yeah,
not yet.
and if ever you go again, don't be afraid to ask kind of thing. It's like, it sounds good, I just need a bit more vocal so I don't have to push as hard. Oh, okay, no problem, you know, kind of thing. So get that two-person process kind of thing. So yeah, I went down the rabbit hole a bit there too. So anyone else?
On that note of the condenser mics,
Yeah.
I was elementary school musical. Is there a way to?
How do I make musicals sound great?
Well, is there a way to mic
Yes.
the general area?
Yes,
then?
there's I do a lot of, like I said, I run rentals, and so I get a lot of schools coming in and wanting to do school plays and stuff. There's never one perfect mic to do it. I always recommend multiple things. So if I'm doing a school play and there's 10 kids performing, 4 of them are leads. They get headsets.
Right.
The other ones are kind of doing background noise and whatever kind of thing. There's 2 ways you can do that. Hanging mics are ideally designed for Foley. And if anyone knows movies, Foley is just like general noise and sound kind of thing. They're meant to pick up just like the sibilance of things, not physical sound, because that mic is pointing at the top of their head. So of course, if I'm talking this way, that mic's not gonna do a damn thing. So I would have the leads on headsets. I would have a couple hanging mics for just general noise, and then some, one of two things. Mics at the front of the stage, facing the stage, and have that picking up the front of the stage where the kids go. And when you're doing your play, if you want to bust out a Shakespeare reference, you can have what's called an aside, where if people have important things to say, they come to a specific spot. And that microphone is there waiting for them kind of thing. There's no way to pick up like what's a school gym, 30 feet kind of thing? There's no way to have a couple mics pick up that entire thing. It's just not going to happen.
And what kind of mics would you have in front of the stage?
And I would use what's called an Audix MB5050, skinny little black looking thing. You know when you see award shows and that little skinny black mic? It looks like that. But it's got a really powerful capsule on it. It helps pick up really well. It's designed for that idea to pick up a bigger area kind of thing. But again, it's not going to do all of it.
Right.
So having it as a helper would be better than having it do everything.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
And that you need phantom power.
Yeah, it's a condenser, you need phantom power kind of thing too. Yeah, again with the mics kind of thing, not one mic is going to do all your work for you. Sometimes having multiple things working easier is better than having a couple mics working really hard. So having, again, the stage mics, having more of those at a lower gain level with more clean power is better than having two hanging mics just railed and you can hear that feedback just wanting to go kind of thing. So sometimes less isn't more.
So in those play situations, could you also possibly have somebody on like a Canon mic? Kind of
like a shotgun mic?
Yeah.
You can. They're very directional. So
yeah.
Again, so that's where if you have
you actually physically have a mic person, kind of like in the movie.
You like following them kind of thing?
Not following, but
yeah.
in front.
That would look kind of cool actually. You made like it's actually a movie happening. That would be cool. Yeah, it's a play by the movie. You can, but again, those type of mics are very point and shoot. So you probably want something that picks a little broader. Those August ones we talked about.
So here's a special case situation.
Yeah.
Dance studio. We want to pick up the floor sound.
You can get what's called boundary microphones, and they're little flat things that can sit right on the ground, and they can pick up the resonance, and they also pick up a little bit on top. Sennheiser makes them, Apex makes them, and a couple of those again would help that. I've seen some people try to put like 57s on the stage, but the mic itself picks up a lot of noise itself, and so it's really rumbly. Yeah, so the boundary mic would be a really good option.
Would that be kind of like a Pizza Electric?
What's that?
Like it's flat, like
yeah, like
a Pizza Electric.
ISO, yeah. That's the same idea kind of.
Yeah.
So that would work. Anybody else got any problems they want fixed? Yeah, of course.
But it's not going to be in this room.
So there's some crackling in
That's
our
right, 'cause I go
speakers,
tin can.
but it only comes when there's noise, and I'm not sure why. It could be because of the accordion, or maybe I should ask, would it be perhaps because the
Sorry, so say that again?
So there's,
something flat on
they're
the
singing
surface,
and
put it on the
everything,
floor,
and
then
then
you
every
get
so
around
often
it,
there's a crackle, and
Okay.
if it's a little bit too loud, it crackles.
It almost sounds like it's like distorting out. Or does it sound more like AM, FM radio crackle?
Probably like that, yeah.
Okay? It could be the cables overlapping each other kind of thing, where you're getting interference that way. It could be, and you say it's only when it's really loud?
Not when it's really loud, but it's just when it seems to spike, like when we hit a higher note or more emphasis or something, you know.
It could also be the horn diaphragm in the speaker dying. Basically a horn diaphragm, similar to a speaker kind of thing, is just a single moving piece, and after time it'll wear out and kind of seize up. Before it does that, it's going to sound like an old speaker box and just like kind of crack out kind of thing. So it might be the actual speakers themselves that need some repair.
And that would happen kind of like.
Yeah, you push it hard enough.
It was 1 week it was fine, and the next week it was.
If you push it a bit more that one day, it'll crap out basically.
Yeah.
So you can always bring those in, and we can take a look at them here and test them out. So, yeah, like no speaker too is going to last forever. That's the thing a lot of people try to have the same. They're holding on to so much sentimental value in these speakers that I just can't get rid of them. And and I remember my first bike, and it reminds me of this speaker, and I don't want to get rid of it. Sometimes it's time to let go, and we can get to some new stuff in that too. When it comes to repairs and pro audio and stuff, sometimes when you go to fix one thing, 10 other things all of a sudden fall apart fixing it. So sometimes just getting a new one can make a big difference too. You'd always start to see if there's a simple part to fix. If not, we need to try something new. So, yeah.
I was just gonna ask,
Yeah.
mine's different, it's more like, say,
No,
if you're
yeah.
doing voiceover,
Yeah.
studio type stuff.
Okay.
I guess, I mean, I'm just trying to get into it, your headset's basically your monitor.
Mm-hmm. Your headphones, yeah.
Now, those in-ear monitors.
Same thing.
Do they don't give off any noise, like nothing would be?
Yeah, exact same thing. So instead of being over the ear, it's in the
Just
ear.
in?
Yeah.
No noise, wireless,
Yep.
that's fine.
That would be a bad idea too, because then you're really isolated to hear exactly what you're hearing. So,
For any of these systems, is, for those kinds of things, is latency ever an issue, or are they just
No,
designed not to
no.
have any? They'd be stupid to design something that had.
pretty much, yeah. You won't hear any like crazy latency with that at all. So they're pretty safe.
Is there anything you recommend for connection cleaners at all? Like 1/4-inch jacks or whatever, just to keep it?
Yeah, we sell a spray, Deoxit, is that what it's called? Deoxit spray?
I've heard that name.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
like a
know if that's
contact
an actual
cleaner.
brand or not, but.
We have it here, it's black. It's got a red stick for the straw, I don't know what it's called, but we have it here, we can show you.
Does it make a difference? Or?
Oh, it does, big time, yeah. Like if you get like an older mixer kind of thing, like even the knobs, stuff.
Yeah.
A little contact cleaner in there, move around, look, it's a potentiometer.
Potentiometer.
Thank you. If they don't move after a while, they will start to seize up kind of thing. So getting in there and clean them up kind of thing can make a big difference too, and get rid of all those crackly channels and crackly pots kind of thing too.
Does that work on the sliders too?
There's two different ones. There's a fader lube for that, and then
Oh,
there's a
okay.
deoxit for the actual controls. But there is one for each.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the fader ones I think need like more of like a silicone
Kind
to
of
keep it moving kind of thing, where the other
Oh.
ones is like a degreaser almost.
Mm.
I think so. Yeah.
So the X32 are the digital motorized faders then? Can you lube those too?
You can. They you usually want to set them at the max position, put a little bit in, and then just do your like move up and move down, and then that'll help a little bit too.
But only do it if you
You really need to. Yeah, and you shouldn't have to.
Is there any advantage to using those, I guess it would be a personal sized monitor rather
Hotspots.
than
Yeah,
that
hotspots.
size?
The cool thing with hotspots is they were really popular back in the 70s. They were very much the 70s. And the idea is you would have it actually fixated in between where this part touches and where this part touches, a little speaker right here.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea being it's this much closer to my face, I don't have to have the volume near as loud to get to it kind of thing. They're a really cool idea. Their only downfall would be the amount of output, and they're going to sound just a bit thinner because it's going to be a 6-inch driver instead of like a larger 10 in a horn.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, they're great. Mackie makes them like a little SRM 150, and they're awesome. The B205D. Yeah,
See, we have one that is for the for our electric piano.
Yep.
So they have their own, because it's amped as well, so they have their own volume volume control on there
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, they work
That way
great.
I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's another great
That's
idea.
their problem if they're
Yep.
deaf.
Always definitely recommend those. Yeah.
And would that kind of also go with the same, like with the, like a satellite, like where they can adjust their own?
Yeah, like anybody who's sitting down, drummers, keyboard players, that kind of stuff, doesn't hurt to have their own little wedge right by them, where they would run their signal to like, like a DI. So their signal goes sent up to the front of house, but also can loop into their speaker, and so they can adjust themselves if they want to as well. So it's a good idea. Yeah. So. Yeah. We good? Oh.
So going back to the gain structure.
Okay.
Also, most of our speaker has its own frame, right?
Okay. Oh, sorry. A powered speaker?
Yeah, power speaker.
Right.
It has its own EQ, right?
Some do.
Some
On
do.
on the back of a powered speaker, you'll have basically like a basic volume source,
Yeah.
and then sometimes they have little buttons for EQ modes kind of thing. 9 times out of 10, you want to leave them at 12 o'clock. There's usually a little indent telling you this is unity. Before is going to be negative, 10 decibels, and above will be positive 10 decibels. So usually 12 o'clock is where you want it, and that's going to give you the best noise floor ratio, none of that kind of thing. So 12 o'clock. That's what I say too when you're starting with a mixer kind of thing. Start everything at 12 o'clock too with your EQ, nothing added, nothing taken away. So you know exactly what that source is sounding like coming in. And then use these EQ stuff as band-aids. if you really need to, kind of thing. 9 times out of 10, you might not need to change it at all. You know, I see a lot of guys when you go to like venues and churches, they have like the graphic like just carved out, but they don't know why. They have it carved out because they've seen it like that. So they automatically do that. The problem with that is now you've lost like 10 decibels of volume because everything's been carved out already. So use those things as band-aids or fixers kind of thing. But again, 9 times out of 10, you can start flat and leave it there kind of thing, you know. So.
In the 80s when everybody had the beat.
The old happy face, yeah.
Rock and roll beat.
Yeah.
I've been in situations to where your main slide there for your house is that high, and I've had people come, could you please turn it down? It's way too loud. And you know, you have the other slides hardly move.
Yeah.
And you have the gain kind of, well, some people,
You can't make everybody happy though.
Oh man, I know.
So that's gonna be a tough one too. The people sitting at the front of the stage are always gonna complain it's too loud. The people at the back of the room are gonna complain it's too quiet. Switch them.
That's gonna be yeah. See, I've been happy where the people at the back say it's too loud, and you can imagine that in front.
Right. So yeah, you're not gonna make anybody happy kind of thing. But these are tools to help you find some solutions to what you have kind of thing. So just to kind of do a quick recap of what we kind of talked about. Again, I always fall down rabbit holes. The big thing I really want to discuss was mainly the first line of defense, and what we talked about was our microphones, and knowing the pickup pattern, and knowing how to have that microphone placed, and knowing for live situations where to have those monitors placed. If you can do those things properly every time, most of the time, a lot of your problems are never going to come back. If you ever have people who if you're working with, if you're the front of house guy and you're trying to get somebody to help you or to sound better on a microphone, whatever kind of thing, one thing you can always try doing is everybody has a little lip, I don't think it's the bottom of the lip. Set the microphone right there and start there. And explain to them why. The more signal you can get into this, the more I can give you. If you start pulling away, I gotta start adding way more gain, and now way more problems are gonna start to arrive. Okay? So the first thing is we really want to make sure we know how to use our microphones properly, get to know different microphones for different sounds, because they all do sound different, and get to know different microphones for different pickup patterns. Guys who are really good at staying on that microphone could maybe use a supercardioid pattern, which now gives them a bit more distance from it. Guys who like to wander all over the microphone probably should stick with a cardioid because it's a little more forgiving. Okay? Once we kind of know our microphone pickup patterns and our microphone styles, again, try different ones, see what sounds best for you. Once we figure out kind of too where our wedges should be in accordance with those microphones, you know, cardioid, its best rejection directly behind it. Supercardioid and hypercardioid, 45 degrees. Once we know those things, we can clean everything up a lot better, and you'll be amazed at how all of a sudden all the feedback's going away, all those little problems aren't happening anymore, just because we're learning to use the first line of defense a little bit better. Once we do that, then we can use our mixer with our EQ to help our problem solving. But again, you don't have to always be playing with knobs and that to make it sound better kind of thing. 9 times out of 10, a good mic and good mic placement can just solve all your problems right there. Does that make sense? It's kind of what I was trying to make real basic, like first line defense into a microphone to where that speaker needs to be. That's what we really need to kind of focus on. Does that help? Any other questions or anything? Everybody's good? Clear as mud?
So your speaker or your microphone is that the biggest cause of feedback?
The microphone in relation to where the speaker is.
Okay.
So if my microphone, again, we have a bubble. If my microphone's bubble can be seen by that monitor, that's where that loop's going to happen, that feedback kind of thing.
So even if you have an amp behind you, you get feedback from that?
You'd likely get more unless you're using like something fancy.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I got pushed into a corner one time and my amp was behind me and right away I had tons of feedback.
Yeah, that speaker is wanting to reproduce this, but if it can also see it too, it's just
so
loop and
the
loop and loop.
speaker should always be in front of you.
Should always be in front of you. If you're using like a typical main system kind of thing, we want to have that a good solid in front of us kind of thing, because now we can no feedback. That's a good question. So, yeah. Is that everyone's good? Good. Okay. Well, thank you guys all for coming. Appreciate it. I'll stick around for a while in case anyone wants to. Any guys want to rent anything and try some things out, come see me in rentals too. So, thanks everybody.